Hello students, welcome to CambExcel Mathematics. In today's video, we are going to explore the most common 3D shapes. We will introduce about those 3D shapes first, their basic properties, their characteristics including their length, width, height, volume and surface area. So you have to remember that while preparing for your Cambridge exams, you have to learn 6 3D shapes. In today's video, we will be introducing you about 2 of them. The first is a cone and second is a sphere. First of all, we will define a cone, its basic properties and how it differs from other 3D shapes. Then we will learn the relevant formulas to find out the surface area and volume of a cone. Starting with sphere, we will introduce the definition of a sphere first and its basic properties, and then its relevant formulas to find the surface area and its volume. And at last, we are going to study a relevant shape with sphere known as hemisphere. We will define a hemisphere first, its basic properties, and then we are going to learn about the relevant formulas that we are going to use to find the surface area and volume of a hemisphere. So let's start with our today's topic. Our today's topic starts with the introduction of 3D shapes. Let's first of all learn the names of all 3D shapes that we have to prepare for our Cambridge exams. The first one is a cone, the second one is a sphere, third one is a cylinder, fourth is a pyramid, or you can also call it a prism, fifth is a cone, a cube, and last is a cuboid. Let us go through the definition of a 3D shape. A 3D figure or shape is basically a solid shape with length, width, height, having both volume and surface area. Starting with cone, let us first of all define a cone. So by the definition of a cone, it is a three-dimensional solid figure that has a circular base and curved surface. The key components that we have to learn for the cone are the base of the cone, which is circular in shape, that you can see on the right hand side. The point on the top of the cone is called its vertex, which contains the most of the curved surface. Radius is the distance from the center of the base to any point on its edge. And the distance from the vertex to the center of the base is its vertical height. Now the radius and the vertical height always make an angle of 90 degrees with each other. Lastly, we have slant height, which is the distance from the vertex to any point on the circumference of the base. This slant height always makes some angle with the radius. Here we are going to label that angle as theta. So after knowing about the definition and the key features or components of a cone, let us go through the definitions of surface area of cone and its volume. But before going to introduce you the definition of surface area and volume, let us first of all figure out some symbols that we have to use. So the radius of the cone is going to be labeled as r. The slant height is going to be labeled as small l, and the vertical height is going to be labeled as h. So the definition of the surface area is, it is the area of the curved part and the base of the cone. In the formula, you can see both these areas. First of all, pi r square, which is area of the base that we have already learned, it is circle. And then we have the area of the curved part, which is pi r l. So in order to find the surface area of a cone, we have to add both these areas. So the formula turns out to be pi r square plus pi r l. This formula can also be rewritten as pi r times r plus l. Coming to the volume of the cone, it is the amount of space occupied by a cone, and the formula used to find out the volume of the cone is 1 by 3 pi r square times h. Let us come to the definition of a sphere. According to the definition of a sphere, a perfectly round 3D shape where every point on the surface is the same distance from the center. The key components of sphere are as follows. The shape obtained when we cut through the sphere with a flat surface is known as the cross-sectional area. It is an important shape as it also contains its center. Radius is the distance from that center of sphere to any point on its surface. And this radius is always labeled as small r. Next, we are going to find out the definitions of surface area and volume of a sphere and their relevant formulas. So starting with surface area. By the definition of surface area of a sphere, it is the total area covering the outer side of the sphere, and the formula used to find out the surface area is 4 pi r square. By the definition of volume, it is the amount of space it takes up inside, and the formula used to find the volume is 4 by 3 pi r cube. And at last, coming to hemispheres, let us first of all define what is a hemisphere. So by the definition, a hemisphere is a half of a sphere, like a ball cut into two equal parts. You can see it on the right hand side. Here's the ball, and if we cut it from the center and remove the upper part, we get a hemisphere. Let us find out the definitions and formulas for the surface area and volume of a hemisphere. Starting with the definition. Before going into the definition, let us first of all label some important parts of a hemisphere. The radius, just like in sphere, we have to label this as small r. The curved surface is basically the outer part of the hemisphere, and this cross-sectional flat surface is known as the flat base. So by the definition of a surface area, it is the total area covering the outer curved surface and the flat base. The formula used to find the surface area is 2 pi r square, which is half of the surface area of sphere plus area of the flat base, which is a circle. So it turns out to be 3 pi r square. Volume is the space it takes up inside of a hemisphere, and the formula used to find out the volume is half of the volume of a sphere, which is half of 4 by 3 pi r cube, turns out to be 2 by 3 pi r cube. At last, we are going to introduce you the assessment objectives. So in this whole video, we have learned how to carry out calculations and solve problems involving the surface area and volume of a cone and a sphere.